Welcome back to Pompey Scrapbook. Back for another video. How's your week been, Tony?
It's been good, yeah. We've had a trip to Fratton, enjoyed it Tuesday night. You were there as well, I believe.
Yes, it's Derby County, wasn't it? If people are
It
watching
was.
this in the future.
Yep.
Yeah, good game. Good game of football in
And
exciting conditions.
yeah, and a good result in the end, I think.
Yeah.
But we
Um,
don't want to talk about the present, do we?
no. So, first of all, let's take care of business. Please like the video in YouTube. It's very helpful for how the channel works and how it's hopefully will grow. So if you have arrived here to watch it or you're enjoying the videos, please click like. So today we are going to talk about the EFL Trophy. Well, that's what I'm going to call it, but it is a competition of many names. So the EFL Trophy. So we were a bit surprised, weren't we? Because when we looked at the history of this competition, it went all the way back to 81, didn't it? There were a couple of odd seasons a long time ago where I believe it was called the Football League Group Cup.
That's right. And the odd thing is, we were in Division 3 at the time. I got no recollection of it at all. And we didn't play because it was invited clubs only, apparently.
Yeah, I don't know why we would have been one of the biggest clubs then that were
You would have thought so.
eligible. Maybe we were too much trouble.
Could well be.
So in our 125-year history, then this competition has not been there that long, but we have only taken part, I think, in about 12 seasons. So obviously,
Yep.
there's a window of when we've been in the bottom two divisions in order to take part. So really, from about 2012, when we were on the slide down from the top flight, is when we first really got involved.
Yeah, 2012 was our first year in it. Correct, yeah.
And not really had a lot of success in a lot of those years, have we?
To be fair, I don't think we really took the competition that seriously for 4 or 5 years. Paul Cook, certainly, when he was manager, basically played youth side, and it was a straight knockout in those days. So it was one game and you're out.
Yeah.
It was only really when Kenny Jackett came in that we started to have any sort of success in it.
I guess part of that is when we were in financial troubles and coming down through the leagues, we probably had a really small squad. So if you haven't got strong reserves to put in for a game, then it's kids, isn't it? So
Yeah, that's probably right. Yeah.
yeah, okay. So we've got two seasons that we're going to look at
It
then.
might be worth mentioning. It's been through a few name changes over the years, and
Oh,
we
sponsors.
were trying to think of some of the names, and we went back as far as the Auto Windscreen Shield.
Well, of course, there's
Uh,
Checker Trade is what we won.
yeah, there's a Johnston Paints Trophy.
That's the one that they won.
Yeah, the Papa John's Trophy. That's. I think that was when we didn't quite win it.
So leasing.com.
Yeah, I think that's another one. And at the moment, it's now the Bristol Street Motors.
It's
Some wonderful name competitions there.
it's almost like feels like they could probably only keep a sponsor for a couple of years in the competition. So
Seems like it, doesn't it?
okay, so we've got a lot of quite early exits, round one, round two, round three. And it's also confusing because it changes format quite a lot, doesn't it? So it's been, I think when it started, it was quite often just knockout. And for a while recently, it's had a group stage. Then they've added in under 21 teams. So it's always, it's not very easy to see how you fared in it, really.
It's always been a competition they've tried to sort of revamp and make a little bit more interesting. It seems to have settled down now in the current format with the under 21 sides, which most people don't think is a good idea. But to be fair, there's no under 21 side has ever got anywhere near close to winning it.
No, and yeah, I can see both sides of it. Does it make a bit of a mockery of it for the for the League One, League Two clubs? But it is a good way for the bigger clubs that have got a proper academy to get some competitive games, isn't it? So
Well, yeah, I think the worry was that one year you might find the final was between Chelsea under-21s and Arsenal under-21s, and that would seem of just a bit of a farce, wouldn't it?
yeah.
But it's never got close to happening. So
Okay, so we've got 2 years that we're going to focus on. So we've got the 2019, 2020, 2021 season. So there's a reason I've called it that. So, and this is we're doing it a bit back to front, obviously for the reason that of when we won it. But the season we're talking about is actually when we tried to defend it, isn't it? We were already the champions, and we came back and tried to win it the season after.
we were, yeah.
And that was the 2019 to 20 season. And of course, as we've probably covered in a previous video, getting to the final and then COVID happened and it didn't get played. But they somewhat strangely left the final to almost the end of the next season.
Yeah, it was odd, wasn't it? They obviously COVID was interrupted everything, and from what I remember of it, they just kept saying it's going to be played, but it was always being delayed. It would have made sense to have played it earlier in that season, but for some reason they left it.
I guess they were waiting and waiting to try and get to a position where they could have fans there.
I think that's probably right, because I think we'd sold somewhere around 50,000 tickets. Obviously, they didn't want to have to pay the money back, I guess, but in the end, they had to.
Yeah, and it is the whole idea of this competition. Really, is a bit of a fans' competition to give lower league clubs a day out at Wembley, isn't it? So if no fans can go, it seems a bit pointless. So in the year we're defending the title, we're trying to. We have a semi-final at home against Exeter. So that's where we pick this one up.
Bass in the goal, not doing too well. And it's whacked in.
There must be some weird stat. The number of people called Taylor that always score against us.
I was just thinking exactly the same, yeah. And their manager was Taylor as well, wasn't it? It was Matt Taylor, not the one we know, but.
Oh, Ronan.
And there's Marcus Harness, good old Marcus.
Yes, well done, Marcus.
73 on his Pompey power last week.
Yeah. Okay. So 1-1. And then if we jump on a bit. So now we're late in the game now. Where are we at?
Yeah, this was actually in the 90th minute.
Is that an own goal?
Christian Burgess own goal. And we were down the Fratton end and thinking, that's that gone then.
Yeah.
But then there was, in the second, I think it's about the second minute of injury time. This is Cameron McGeehan. I remember seeing this shot at the time, and it just seemed to take ages to go in. It was one of those shots that it went up, and you just thought, "Oh, where's that going?" And then it dropped in.
So
and now
how deep in injury time now?
We're in the 6th minute of injury time now. And we're just thinking about penalties, but oh no, Ronan Curtis again. And good old John Marquis. There's a player who divides opinion.
Yes, we'll come on to that in a minute.
But yeah, it was an incredible night. Nicky and I were there. It was 14,000, which was by far the biggest crowd we've had in that competition, apart from the final the year before.
I suppose if that had been the semi-final the year before, I think we'd have got half that. But I think because we'd had that Wembley final.
Yeah, hard to say.
I
mean, the year before we went to the quarter final. Well, we shouldn't talk about that because we'll come on to that in a minute. But the year before we went to the quarter final game, and I think it was about 3,000. So yeah, you're probably right.
Yeah, okay. So let's move on then to the final. So we got through to the final against Salford.
Yep. And it
And then,
played about 14 months later.
yeah, so, and at Wembley, and despite the fact they waited the whole season, it was still in front of no fans. So the official attendance I looked up for this game is 0.
Yep.
The only people there are officials. So,
And family and friends, I guess. And
we're
Ryan Giggs.
playing for Salford's Ryan Giggs. No, he's sat in
Yeah.
the stand. So we're just going to look at the penalty shootout. The game was dull, wasn't it?
We were awful. From what I remember of it, Craig McGilvray kept us in it with 2 or 3 good saves.
Yeah,
But it was a shocking game.
I think they probably deserved to win it in 90
They
minutes.
should have won it in 90 minutes, yeah.
So let's have the penalties then.
And it always annoyed me that we were wearing white.
Ryan Williams over the bar, and then pretend you've got a hamstring problem. I guess we just wore white because we couldn't wear the white shorts.
That was Ronan Curtis missing. Yeah, I think you're probably right, but Lee Brown, always good for a penalty. And then who takes the 4th one here? What a penalty that is.
Rags.
Sean Raggett.
Raggett for England.
Yeah. And that was it.
Well, was over pretty quickly.
4-2, I think we lost. 4-2 we lost on penalties.
Yeah, that's poor penalty shootout. That was akin to our Villa Park effort in the FA Cup.
Slightly better. We got 100% more penalties than we did that day, I suppose, on that night.
Yeah. So that was us trying to defend the title unsuccessfully.
I remember at the time, because it was in that COVID year when it all seemed very strange, and there wasn't a lot of disappointment that we lost because nobody was there. But then when you think back on it afterwards, you think, well, we could have been the first team to have held the trophy and won it again, or won it in successive seasons. That has never been done. So that could have been something we could have achieved. But
probably a hard thing to achieve, because I think if you're a good enough team to be winning it, and you're probably at the upper end of League One and looking to get out of it.
Yeah, you'd have thought so, yeah.
So, although we say we weren't too fussed, I think mood around the club was pretty low at the time. So, with that very, very disappointing performance and all the probably complaining that was happened, the day after, what happened?
Good.
Yeah, I lost you then.
Kenny Jackett was sacked the following day. And
at long last, some would have said.
Well, Kenny's a strange one. He was a really nice guy. He came over to the island once, and he sat and spoke to people quite happily. He just came across as a really nice guy, and for a couple of years, we were really good under him. And when we missed out in the playoffs to Sunderland that year, probably would have been the best thing if he'd gone then and we'd started off again, but he sort of hung on for another season and a half, season and 3/4, and it just gradually got worse. The football got more and more boring, and
yeah, I mean, he actually had a good win percentage as a manager, didn't he? Because we were always at the upper end of that league, but basically just didn't get us out of that league, and that was the objective, wasn't it?
We should have got out of the league the second season when he was there. When we were well clear in the league at one stage, had our traditional dodgy spell in January and never really got going again. But
yeah. Okay, so going back a season then to the original run, I think it was a competition that divided opinion a little bit at that time. I knew quite a few Pompey fans who were almost refusing to go to EFL Trophy games on principle because it was a rubbish competition.
quite a few that were refusing to because the attendances were generally 2, 3, 4,000 for the games.
Yeah, and I can put my hand up and accept that I never watched Pompey in an EFL Trophy game until we were at Wembley. I'm one of them.
We did see a few, and in the 2018-19 season, which we're going through now, we went to, I think it was the quarter-final against Peterborough, which was a 1-0 win in front of about 3,000. And we'd been to various games in previous seasons, but it was always very, very poorly attended.
So semi-final was away to Bury.
It was away to Bury when Bury were still a Football League side, and actually were doing quite well. I think they were towards the top end of League Two at the time, so it was quite a tough tie. It could have been,
but we put them away 3-0, didn't we?
We did, yeah. From what I remember of watching the game, a very good performance.
Okay, so on to the final.
Yes, what a day that was.
A Wembley final, and yeah, what a fantastic day it was. What are your memories of the day?
Well, Nicky and I went up on the Friday. We stayed in London Friday and Saturday night, which is what we tended to do in the Wembley appearances. It was just, getting off the train at Wembley Park and walking down Empire Way, Wembley Way, whatever you want to call it. It was just masses of people, and it all seemed a really happy, friendly environment. There was loads of Mackhams, and you were quite happily going up and chatting with them. Everybody seemed happy about it, and it just seemed like a day out. Almost as if, we're here, let's not worry about the result. But as soon as you get in the ground, though, and the game starts, that sort of changes a bit.
Yeah, largely similar for me. I got really fond memories of this game. So I was there with my son, my youngest son. So good memories of that. I was speaking to him earlier. It's still his favourite match that he's seen live, and one of the goals, which we'll see shortly, is his favourite ever Pompey goal that he's seen live. You probably guess it's not the Thompson header.
That was a good goal, the Thompson header.
Yeah, but it's not his favourite goal. So good memories. Bit different for me. I did the supporters club coach. As soon as we got there in good time, and straight away I wasn't concerned with Wembley Way. We went in a different direction and found the pub. And that's what I remember of that day. A lot of people had a good time. It was less nervy than the FA Cup final because there was all the pressure. We were expected to win that day. This day was, like I say, a bit more, what will be, will be. Everyone had a good time. I think there were a fair few drunk Pompey fans in the Pompey end that day.
I think another thing that made it seem a better day was it was a nice sunny day as well. You always envisage a Wembley final as being a bright sunny day, and the 2008 Cup final was dark and cold, and not cold but dark and wet, and it just didn't seem quite right somehow.
So let's look at a few highlights from the game then. So the first half.
We didn't play very well first half, did we?
No. So let's have the goal. So this is a free kick at the end. The Pompey fans are at McGeady to take it.
Bit of a deflection on it.
Yeah, clips off the top of the wall. 1-0.
And to be fair, Sunderland easily deserved a 1-0 lead at half time. They were much the better side in the first half.
Yeah.
But
it was disappointing, wasn't it? The first half in general, we didn't really seem like we turned up.
No. And who knows why, really? But certainly second half. Kenny obviously had a few strong words with him at half time, didn't he?
And I think catalyst for me in that was Gareth Evans coming on at half time.
Definitely, yeah, because I think he was very unlucky and very disappointed to be not in the starting 11, and I think he came on with a point to prove.
Okay, let's move on to another clip then.
So this is when Pitman hits the post. Yeah,
Yeah, nice little knockdown from Jamal.
yeah. So this was just as we were just really starting to put the pressure on now. And there's Matt Clark racing up there, isn't it? And there's Nathan Thompson's header, and that was Gareth Evans with a cross, wasn't it?
So that was, I believe, just with 8 minutes left in normal time.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it was about that. Yeah, I was going to say about 10. Yeah.
Okay.
And that was Nathan Thompson's only goal for us.
Was it?
So not a bad place to get it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and that was at the Pompey end. Good scenes, and it finished there, and we went to extra time.
An odd thing about it, because I remember at the time, because all the way through the competition, there was no extra time. So if it was 90 minutes, it was level. It went to penalties, and it got to 90 minutes, and I was waiting for them to take penalties, and suddenly they lined up to play extra time.
Oh, the classic not knowing the rules.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay, so into extra time then. Long ball, and
Here it is.
This is the goal.
It is superbly done when you consider
Yeah.
the occasion where it is, and you're thinking this was about what 7 or 8 minutes left.
Yeah, and an exciting player.
Everybody's thinking this is the winning goal, and
And an exciting player, Jamal Lowe, had a fantastic song for him.
yeah,
Great goal, yeah. And like you say, we thought it was it.
he's done that. He's done that so well. But it wouldn't be Pompey, would it, if it was that easy?
Agonising. It was Clark, wasn't it, trying to keep it out?
Yeah, I just remember slumping back down in the seat when that happened and thinking, "Oh no."
Oh no, penalties.
Yeah.
But I think I was probably saying to my nipper at the time, "Don't worry, we said it doesn't matter if we don't win."
I think that had long gone by that stage.
Oh,
There's one very. Is it a crucial thing? I don't know. But obviously, they've got to take the penalties at one end or the other. And we won the toss to take them at the end where the Pompey fans were. Does it make a difference? I would probably say yes, it does.
yeah, maybe. Okay, so into penalty shootout then. We start with this young man.
Catamol.
Steps up.
And to be fair, it's not that bad a penalty, is it? No. I think it's one that if the goalkeeper goes the right way, he's got a fair chance of saving it.
Yeah, it's at goalkeeper height, isn't it?
Yeah.
McGilvery.
Yeah.
He was a good keeper for us.
I always liked McGilvray. I thought he was an excellent keeper.
He's the main man of the moment, Jamal.
We'd never seen him take a penalty before. Boom. That's pretty well taken, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Luke 09. Famously ended up on the North Terrace in the playoff game.
Oh, yeah. So, Mr. Hawkins is stepping up, and I'm going to hold us there.
Well, I remember thinking at the time, because the first three had been Pitman, Gareth Evans and Lee Brown, as we expected. Then Lowe, and we were trying to work out who the fifth taker would be. And suddenly we saw Ollie Hawkins stepping up, and we thought, oh, didn't expect that somehow, but perhaps we should have done. He's a centre forward after all.
Yeah, so, change of camera angle.
What's these guys down the bottom here? They can't look.
So, this is from my mobile phone, and you can see what a great view I had that day. I was behind the goal. I'd love to know who this guy is in the front who doesn't want to watch.
He's looking the other way.
He could be watching it, in theory, on the screen, but why would you when just sit down? So I presume he didn't want to watch. So
Yeah,
right, we'll take the audio on this one then. So we'll have to let's soak it up.
go on then. Happy days.
Yes.
So much for not being bothered if we won or not.
Yeah, as the camera my phone popped around there, you might recognise a few supporters there that I was sat with. But yeah, happy days.
No, it was a great day. For me, it trumped the two FA Cup finals as well,
Yeah. Um,
which is an odd thing to say, really, because the FA Cup final, growing up, was the one thing we dreamed of being in, and then
yeah.
getting
I
there in the
remember
EFL.
that day against Cardiff was just a
Yeah,
nervy,
yeah.
nervy affair.
And it's odd that the EFL Trophy final ends up. We remember it more fondly than the FA Cup final, but there you go.
Yeah. Okay, so one more video to see on from this day. So here we are lifting the trophy. Mr. Pitman.
Good old Brett Pitman. But if you look there, look on either side. You've got Gareth Evans, Tom Naylor. We had some good leaders in that team, not just the skipper.
Yeah, good memories.
Yeah,
So some significant facts, statistics from that day. Can you think of any?
it was the highest the highest attendance for the EFL Trophy.
Yeah.
What else are we going to come out with? Ooh,
Only time that final's been played between two previous league champions.
is that true? Are you sure about that?
I think so. And the only time it's been played between two teams that have been in the Premier League.
Ah,
There you go.
yeah. So, I mean, who were the? It was Checker Trade then, wasn't it? I mean,
Yeah.
Checker Trade must have loved it because they've sponsored it and they've got a final with the two biggest clubs and 85,000 fans there.
Yeah.
They must have been rubbing their hands at that, mustn't they?
Yeah. We made up for it the next year though when there were
Yeah.
zero fans.
Yeah, never mind.
Okay, so to round up then, let's have a look at this chap here. We're back onto the Pompey cards. So, John Marquis.
Well, he deserves a lot for that header in the 96th minute against Exeter, doesn't he?
Wow, that's why he got his 68.
John Marquis is a classic player who divides opinion amongst fans, I think. Uh, uh, we obviously had him on loan briefly, about 2013. But then when he re-signed for us, he'd had a really good 2 seasons with Doncaster, I think. 25 goals a season sort of thing. And I remember thinking he would be a really good signing. I don't know. Sadly, for whatever reason, it never quite worked out. He had his moments.
So this
But
is the lowest rating I've given a player so far for the
yeah,
Pompey
yeah,
power, and I'm accepting some people may not agree with that.
yeah. I think most people would probably agree because
Yeah.
he got a fair bit of stick towards the end of his career at Pompey.
I didn't like him as a player. I didn't like him when we had him on loan from Millwall. I remember whether it was the first game I saw him play at Fratton. I mean, he was only there for a month, and he just looked like trouble. He was just running around, elbowing people, and I just thought he's going to get a red card sooner or later. I just didn't rate him.
he did score goals for some teams, and he scored a few goals for us. What's that? 37 goals there. So it's not the worst record you'll ever have, but
in 127, so
yeah,
somewhere between 3 point something game
yeah,
to score a
yeah,
goal. So
yeah.
not brilliant. And I always thought he was a bit of a cart horse. And yeah, but I know
So
some other people like him.
68 you've given him. Yep. Okay. That's, as you said, that's the lowest mark we've had so far, isn't it?
And we did, to put it in context, because we saw him score. This is one we've done previously. Marcus Harness got a 73.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think if you compare those two, that's probably fair.
Okay. Jamal Lowe, he gets a 78.
Yep.
So more than Marcus Harness, not up with the Walsh-Bailey level of cards. Was with us a few seasons, 30 goals in 119 appearances, so not really much of a worse run rate than John Marquis. So
He's not really a striker, but
no,
more of an attacking midfielder
yeah,
or whatever. Yeah, he always did well because we bought him from Hampton and Richmond. He came out of non-league, and got himself into the side, and eventually made himself an integral part of the side. So, and that season he just got better and better as the season went on, and I guess that goal at Wembley was the high point for him.
So, you any idea on roughly the sums of money involved in him coming in and leaving?
I haven't offhand, no.
So he would have come in for peanuts from
Yeah,
non-league. Did he
yeah.
come in with, was it Nicky Kabamba?
Nicky Kabamba, yes, who came in probably with a better pedigree as a goal scorer, but I doubt if he played half a dozen games for us.
And Jamal Lowe left to go to where?
Well, he's now at Swansea, isn't he? Um,
Been at a few clubs, hasn't he?
yeah, and Kabamba is now at Barnet in the National League.
Okay.
And scoring goals for Barnet as well, by the way. But 78 for Jamal Lowe, yep. Can't argue with that.
So that's us caught up on some Pompey cards. I haven't done a Brett Pitman card. Maybe we'll catch up with him another day.
Yeah. And we should have had our Ollie Hawkins one as well for the penalty.
The Ollie Hawkins, the centre back / striker.
Yep.
Yeah.
Penalty taker.
So that brings us to the end of another video, Tony.
Yeah.
We are next time round going to take a look at the new mural at Fratton Park, aren't we?
We are, yes. My intention was to go and have a look at it on Tuesday, but it was, as people may have realised, it was rather wet. So thought we'll give it a miss until Saturday. So we'll have a look at it Saturday,
and then we'll come back and we'll take a look at the players featured on there. I think that'd be quite a nice little selection. Yeah. Okay, Tony.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right. Good stuff.
And we'll see you next week.
Cheers then.
See you.